From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
I was just thinking about on the dance floor. I was just thinking about on the dance floor. I was just thinking about on the dance floor. I was just thinking about on the dance floor.
It is Tuesday, January 14th. It's the year 2020. You're listening to the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Huckabee. I'm talking to you from Nashville, Tennessee. Meanwhile, there in Orlando, Florida, making sure we stay on the rails, it's our illustrious producer, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
And then up there in Loveland, Virginia, making sure we go off the rails at every opportunity, it's our friend, Jesse Carey.
Hello. It is a responsibility and duty I take very, very seriously. Hence the gravitas in my voice today. That is not impending.
Yeah, you sound like Christian Bale's Batman voice. You get
This is the Relevant Podcast.
And we've been trying to do this one for a while. We're excited to have a friend of ours on the podcast today. You're very familiar with his music. You're going to be familiar with his writing soon. We are proud to welcome to the Relevant Podcast as a co-host for today, our friend Cory Asbury. Hey, Cory.
What up, boys? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, this has been a long time in coming. I think we have twice now teased your presence on this podcast, and twice we've been denied. I don't even know if people are listening anymore. I don't. They may have all just like given up on. They can't deal with these lies anymore, and they've just stopped coming back to us. Can only cry wolf so many times.
I apologize for that.
No, it's building anticipation. That's what you've done, and now you've created a tremendous amount of pressure for yourself. That
Perfect. Perfect.
Cory, the world is watching this morning. The world is watching.
I'm ready, bro. I'm jazzed. I just drank my veg juice. I'm good to go, bro.
Also coming up on the show, this was a really fun one. Jad Abumrad. I got to talk to him. He is the creator of Radio Lab, the iconic podcast. And now he has another one. Had a really great conversation with him about his new podcast, Dolly, Parton's America. We got to talk about Dolly. We're both Nashville guys, and his podcast unearthed some really, really amazing things about Dolly Parton's life story. That conversation is coming up.
Now, Cory, this is a big week for you because not only did last week, and I apologize to listeners if I'm continuing to clear my throat, not only last week did you release an incredible collaboration of sort of a reimagined version of your song Reckless Love with Tori Kelly, who we're huge fans of. She's been on the cover of the magazine, been on the pod. But you also released a book, Reckless Love, a 40-day journey into overwhelming, never-ending love of God. Okay. Let's start with the song real quick. We played a clip on Friday's show. Tell us how the collab with Tori came together.
Yeah, man. So we were just looking at ways to reimagine the song. A lot of it, to be honest with you, was to kind of bring people's awareness back to the song because we knew we were going to release the book, right? So we're sitting around the table, a bunch of us friends, and just trying to come up with an idea. Okay, how can we bring this song back to the forefront of people's minds? You know, they've been hearing it for freaking 2 years, straight, probably every day. Maybe they're annoyed with it. Maybe we can bring fresh life to it. So we just started throwing out the idea of what if we invited someone to come and kind of duet it with us. And we started throwing out names, and Justin Bieber was the first one thrown out. And I was pretty fired up about that, but it probably wouldn't work out, so we didn't even go for it. But then Tori's name came up, and we were all like, dude, that's it. That's the one. That would be incredible. So I had met her a few times at different award shows and things. We're not like we're close or anything. But I kind of kept in touch with her husband, oddly enough. And so I hit him up, and I was like, bro, we got this idea to reimagine the song and bring Tori's vocal to it. What do you think? And he was like, dude, we love the song. We love you. We'd love to do it. Hit up, Scooter Braun or whoever her manager is or whatever, and let's get her on the track. So it was that easy.
Well, the crazy thing is too,
it came together really well. It sounds good.
I'm glad you ended up with Tori because we talked about it last week, how incredible the song came out. But it's interesting too that you floated Bieber because isn't Bieber a noted fan of Reckless Love? Hasn't he covered it before at like Coachella or at a worship event?
Yeah, man. I think it was Coachella where he like randomly led this worship set, and dude, my phone went nuts that day. I mean, I'm talking 1,000 text messages in like 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my God, who died? Like, what happened?" And it was the JB who's man was singing the song, and then he posted on his Instagram and stuff. So
the Bieber bump,
dude, it was crazy. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility, you know, but we knew that he was releasing new music, so it probably would kind of fly in the face of that. So we never even went down that avenue, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm texting him. I'm texting him right now, and he is really hurt. He was looking forward to the opportunity. He had heard about.
I'm on the thread.
He's sad. He's sad.
No, when all that happened, you guys know who Jason Kennedy is?
Yeah.
He's the dude from E! News, and now he's kind of doing this. Yeah, he's doing his own thing. So I guess he's buddies with Justin and another dude named Aiden King from Hillsong Young and Free. And Jason hit me up and was like, bro, like he loves this song. Send him make a video of you like thanking him for the song, and I'll send it over to him. Yeah. And I was like freaking out, bro. It's Justin Bieber, I was like crazy nervous making the video. I was like, hi, Justin. Thank you. But Jason sent it over and he was like, dude, he loved it. It's so cool, man. So I never was actually in contact with him, but through Jason.
Yeah, maybe he'll have you out to his palatial estate and you guys can ride Ferraris together or something at some point. I think the least he could do is
I'm
that,
down.
You mentioned the book. Tell me a little more about this book, which I guess is also a devotional, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's couched as a 40-day devotional in as much as, the chapters are called days. Okay. They're a little bit easier to digest. They're not, quite as long as a normal chapter of a book. But yeah, I mean, it's a book. Dude, honestly, I said no to the idea so many freaking times before I finally said yes. There's a guy in Orlando, Jason, who works for Charisma House, which is the publishing company we use. And he had been hounding. Oh, that's in Orlando, isn't it?
That's actually my parents.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We have some connections there.
We have some ties there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some familiar ties.
So
that's why we keep
So let me get this straight. You have dirt on Jason there? You got some dirt on Jason? Let's hear it.
I wish I did.
We're gunning for them.
No, he's the one who's just hounding me because I went out to do an event with William McDowell. And when I was there, Jason was like, dude, we got to get you to write a book. Like it's, we got to get that message out to people. And he kept, we talked about it then. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like that's a great idea, whatever. I didn't consider it serious. And then he kept calling, texting, like, hey man, I got the deal ready. Like I got the contract. Let me send it your way. And I was like, bro, I don't want to, my big thing is I don't like to exploit stuff. And especially with the song being so big, it's like I could have written the book, made the T-shirt, done the next remix like Lil Nas X, and like gone down that road. But I really, to be honest with you, I hate stuff like that because it feels so cash grabby and just like let's cash in on everything right now. And I wanted to stay away from that as much as possible. So I said no to him like 5 or 6 times. And eventually my wife and I and our kids, we were on a sabbatical in Dallas, and he called me again. And I just said, okay, I'll at least pray about it, bro. Like I'll talk to God about it and see if he says anything. Yeah. And finally felt released to go after it. We had some time to write it. And that's kind of where it came from. And then writing it was a whole different story.
Yeah. Was it weird transitioning from music writer to book writer?
Definitely. I mean, music is all about those little sound bites, right? If you get that one line in the song, it's just like, bam, there it is. With a book, obviously, you have so much more space and so much more room to kind of delve into your idea and really flesh it out and kind of give it wings, I guess. So it was interesting to kind of feel free to actually say more of what I wanted to say rather than just trying to fit it into this perfect melody with the perfect number of syllables and all that kind of stuff. So it was a whole new world for sure.
Well, Cory, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you about real quick. we spoke a few weeks ago when the book was preparing to be released. And I don't know if you are aware of this, but a conversation we had about a year prior to that had some major implications for a member of this podcast. Our producer, Chandler, is the world's biggest well, I'll say this. He's very unashamed, unironic, and very vocal about his love for Chili's. So I had spoken to you, and I think this was a while ago. It might have been when you were releasing some new music or something. And after we wrapped that portion of the conversation, somehow we started talking about Chick-fil-A. And you told us the story about being a Chick-fil-A black card holder, which entitled you to free Chick-fil-A, and what a great deal you got in lieu of an honorarium for playing one of their events. Well, we started talking about how, we think Chandler deserves the same type of honor, even though he's done nothing for Chili's. He hasn't performed at any of their events. They had actively asked him in the form of a restraining order just to stay away from the headquarters. But they should do something for him. So because of this, our listeners on Twitter started doing their thing. Chili's responded, and Chandler was issued a one and only Chili's metallic red card that entitled him to more Chili's than any human heart should possibly be able to consume and survive. He's somehow still ticking. But Cory, we talked a few weeks ago, and I don't know if this is going to get you in trouble. So if you just say, listen, this is top secret, this is off the record, good, man. Then I understand. But there's been some drama, and a new casual dining place has stepped in to fill the void.
Yes. So let me fill you in on the drama, right? So
yeah,
we talked about this black card, and it was the most coveted, most precious gift of my entire life. I was like Gollum, just my precious. I didn't want anyone to touch it. I was super fired up. It was like the greatest thing in the world, right? And so all of a sudden things switched, and I don't know where they switched. But that black card became only useful at the Chick-fil-A at which it was given, which is in Houston, Texas. And I don't live in Houston, Texas. So that black card pretty much became useless to me.
Yeah.
And I was bumming hard, man, because that was like, it's probably
when the card was available at all restaurants. How frequently were you using it?
I mean, as much as humanly possible, except for closed on Sundays, right? Other than that, I was exploiting that sucker. That's one thing I wasn't afraid to exploit.
Yeah.
Were you notified of this change? But did they call you? Did they say, hey, as a valued black card holder, we feel? How did you?
No, it wasn't, I don't even know that other people have it, to be honest with you. There was this one spot in Houston. It's a radio station, actually. And I might get in trouble for saying this. So, if you guys are listening in Houston.
We get in trouble all the time.
I apologize. Okay, cool. We'll apologize later.
We've put the Chick-fil-A bear many times.
All right, good. So they issue these black cards to this particular radio station. Oh. And there are a few holders at that radio station. So that's where I learned of it and said, listen, I got to get my hands on these. Mm-hmm. So the young lady who's kind of our radio liaison host or whatever through Bethel Music, like for me as an artist, she was the one that actually informed me, hey, bud, this is only for Houston now. They've had to kind of restrict it. And maybe it's because I spent so much money on it. Who knows? But it's weird, man. It's a huge bummer. So that's the drama. Okay. But let me bring you into the beauty of the whole thing.
Beauty in the ashes.
That's right. God. That's right. See, here's the thing. When he closes one door, beloved, he opens another. Okay.
That's watch it. Won't he do it? Wow,
that's right.
Watch him work.
So check this out. It was last year. No, wait. It may have even been before that. I'm trying to remember. It was sometime probably last year. I get a message, an Instagram message from someone. I don't know who they are. I don't even know that they work for Chipotle. But the message basically says, hey, I work for corporate. we love you. We love the song. We'd love to reach out and just bless you with something. And I'm thinking they're going to send me like a shirt or a hat or one of the things that I got 1 trillion times since Reckless Love has come out,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, here's the church address, whatever, send it to me, because I don't usually give out the personal address unless I know the person. So they send it to the church, and it's this big box. And I open the box, it's got all the Chipotle branding, logos and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like, this is lit. Like, what is this going to be? And I'm thinking a bunch of merch or whatever. So I open it, and it's like all these free Chipotle cards and like all these little special things that I guess only like sons and daughters of owners of franchises and stuff get. So it was literally upwards of like, I don't know, 150, 200 free burritos. And then there was free like meals for 6 or whatever. They had all these cards like free meal for 6. So I'd bring in the family, I'd bring in a couple friends, and we'd all get food like chips and guac, a drink, a bowl, a burrito, whatever. And then on top of that, there was two catering cards. So like free catering for like 20 or something. So we had 2 parties at the house and just got
Chipotle parties.
Dude, it was crazy.
Dude, that is incredible. I mean, I feel like exactly when one door opens, when one door closes, another opens. That is the spiritual lesson people need. If people are out there struggling
right now. Did that make it into the devotional? Did that make it into the devotional book?
What day is that?
That feels like baked into the material.
Day 35. You've been hanging on.
I didn't get disheartened. I didn't get offended, man. And that's what happened. God said, "Okay, you didn't get offended. Here you go, bam, Chipotle."
You were basically.
I admire that. I really do. I admire your grace in the face of such offensive treatment. But I do want to say, if you could talk to the Chick-fil-A CEOs and they're faithful listeners, if you could talk to them, what would you want them to know? Just seeing it from the vantage point you have right now.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the only thing I want to say is I forgive you. If I go into it more than that, it's going to hurt too bad.
Well, Cory, we got to transition to our news segment here, but I just want to say you are an inspiration. You are a modern day Job. I don't think I'm exaggerating.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
By comparing you
it's really
and
powerful.
what you've gone through in the last year to Job of the Bible, and God has rewarded you. Good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
Get extra guac on me, good and faithful servant.
Thank you, sir.
Satan goes before God and says, I even took away his Chick-fil-A card, and still he refuses to curse your name.
That's right. And trust me, all my friends were trying to get me to renounce Chick-fil-A. I said, no, I'll never do that.
Exactly. Oh, wow, that's powerful. What a great story. Yeah. There's a movie in there somewhere.
There is. Great. We're going to talk about the
Just Mercy
CCM
sequel.
movies coming out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do slices. You're listening to Jacqueline by Circle Waves. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard About Work the Dance Floor by Georgia. All right, so Slices is our weekly look back. Cory, just so you're aware, our weekly look back, some of the news stories that caught our eyes this week. It's time for
Slices.
Jesse, what are you bringing?
Okay, I have 2 news stories. One is a little bit more serious. I'm interested in your guys' thoughts. And then one is just pulled from the oddball bin. My favorite place to hang out on the internet. Okay, so this first one is a new study from Barna, who's a research group, and World Vision, the humanitarian organization, both good friends of ours. The report is called the Connected Generation Report. And basically what they did was they talked to Gen Z and millennials, so Gen Zers and millennials in 25 nations, and they did like over 15,000 interviews in 9 different languages. And they essentially wanted to determine what some of their life priorities were. And some of what they found is interesting. Some, I think, is a little cause for concern. So I'm going to read through a couple and then, some of the high level overviews. So only a half said that they have both completed their education and have become financially independent from their parents. 40% said that they were already spiritually mature. Only a quarter prioritized getting married. Less than that prioritized caring for the poor. A big one that was prioritized was purchasing their first home. Now, practicing Christians who were on the survey, they were the most likely to say that becoming a parent, getting married, becoming spiritually mature, and caring for the poor were important. But some of the stuff that I found interesting is that only 32% of Christians expressed desire to care for the poor and needy. 18% of those overall asked said that their goal was to become influential or famous in the next 10 years. 18%. Only 23% said their goal was to care for the poor and needy. Again, home ownership was higher on the list than getting married, having kids, and obviously caring for the poor. So it's interesting. And I think we all of us right now on this podcast probably qualify as millennials. I don't know exactly what the cutoff is, but do those numbers surprise you in any way? That's such a high number, almost 20%. Say that in the next year, their goal is to become influential or famous, and such a low and they put home ownership, like a material thing, higher than starting a family or getting married. And they have caring for the needy and the poor so low. Is that surprising to you guys? What are your thoughts about the results of those numbers?
I'm surprised they said it.
Yeah.
It feels like the sort of thing you'd like. You don't even a survey. I'd be like, oh no, poor. Oh,
number one,
poor for sure. Number one. Yes, sir. That's the
obviously.
I'm surprised they said it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a survey. No one's going to hold you to it. Just check the right answer.
Yeah.
It does surprise me. It does surprise me a lot.
Yeah.
It flies in the face of a lot of what, and I don't doubt this survey. It just flies in the face of a lot of what I've read about millennials, about they want to have an impact.
And Gen Z.
And this is the millennial generation were the ones, and Gen Z too. Like they want their professional lives to be something that they're really passionate about and that they care about a lot. I think that's probably true, but I think we have also seen sort of with the as some of those young dreams have sort of met the reality of like the gig economy and a lack of jobs. I do think there probably has been a little bit of a come to reality moment for millennials and maybe for Gen Z as well, that is going to be a little more maybe a little less starry-eyed about some of those things.
Yeah.
And that could manifest in sort of a cynicism that's like, well, I guess I just have to take care of myself and get mine. But I'm really I don't know. That would just be me kind of extrapolating whatever I can from the data that you read there.
Corey,
I don't know. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, you travel a lot. You get to meet a lot of people. Is this surprising to you at all?
It kind of bums me out.
Yeah.
For sure.
The almost 20% saying I want to be influential or famous, I think, is obviously indicative of the social media culture that says I can become an Instagram influencer just by getting a bunch of followers. That type of thought process frustrates the heck out of me, to be honest with you. And again, it's not because I think they're terrible humans, but I think all they see is these people making money from posting ads, on Instagram or whatever. And so they want to do that. Young people are following the slightly older ones. And maybe it's put on your oxygen mask first. And if they think they can make some money, then they can take care of the poor. Who knows? Sometimes that's my mindset, at least like with my family. If I take care of my family, or if I take care of myself, I'm taking care of my family. Yeah. But my guess is they didn't read into it quite that deep. And they just want to be famous, which kind of bums me out. But taking care of the poor is not sexy, so I get it.
Yeah. I was listening to an interview a while ago with Chuck Klosterman, who's more of a Gen X culture writer, but he was saying he was talking to someone who was either a millennial or Gen Zer, and like the concept of selling out, like that was like a big deal, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, or at least when I was like growing up and listening to music, it was like, oh, it was bad to be like a sellout was seen as lame, where now that concept isn't even around anymore. Like the goal is essentially to kind of quote unquote sell out to the degree that, Cory, like you were saying, people are willing to sponsor Instagram posts. Like, that value of like authenticity versus commodification has sort of, been introverted in recent years. It seems like. Do you feel like that? Do you guys feel like that's an accurate observation?
Totally.
I wonder. I think it's possible. I think it, like you said, Cory, I think it's really sad, but I think there is the influencer thing. And I think there's been so many like very high profile grifts, that we've seen, like it's easy to point at the obvious ones, like the Fire Festival thing, or what was her name?
Still waiting to get my money back from that one. Yeah, I was stranded on that island for a week.
The Bad Blood, I can't really give her name. Bad Blood, who the book Bad Blood and documentary Bad Blood is written about her. Yeah. Elizabeth something
Holmes,
who created
Elizabeth
those. Elizabeth Holmes. I think that there has been this idea that in order to get ahead, you have to have a scheme. You have to have you have to be pulling some sort of operation, maybe illegal, maybe not, but those are the people that have done well, and they continue to do well. Even when they're caught, they still, what's my man's name who just sold WeWork, who failed so bad at WeWork that he was able to parachute out with $2 billion. That's I do feel like the more we've seen of that, the more there's been this, it's indicative of this idea and culture that is what you need to get ahead, and helping the poor is kind of for saps.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it is kind of like Cory, as you say, it's kind of a bummer, but it's also like, I feel like an interesting call to action for anyone that does have a platform or voice, or anyone who just has people in their relationship circles that, might not have the same priorities, to remember, that this is a big part of the gospel in the Great Commission. And I think there's a ton of opportunity in both these generations to make a big difference. So yeah, but it is, I feel like, something that is concerning, but also sort of inspiring for Christians in that age demographic too, to try to make some change. So I have another news item I want to jump to that, I guess, depending on how you read it, is less of a bummer or way, way more of a bummer. And it's about a new dating site specifically targeting a group of Christians. And that dating site is called tulipsingles.com. Now, why tulip, you may ask? Is this for Christian flower enthusiasts or florists? No. This is a site for Christian Calvinists. Now, tulip is for those for non-theology wonks out there. There are 5 points of Calvinism that are condensed into an acronym called TULIP. And those 5 points are total depravity, unconditional election, limited atonement, irresistible grace, and perseverance of the saints. Now, controversially, it's sort of Reformed theology, which has made like a pretty big comeback in recent years. Their most controversial sort of view, which, is a dichotomy with, theological Arminianism, is that God basically chooses who's going to be saved before everything, and it's the idea of predestination. Anyway, listen, if you're a tulip single, that's a big deal. You can't be out there going on a coffee date with someone who thinks that God's grace is resistible. You can't do that. What if I pick up
nothing kills the mood. Nothing kills the mood faster because you can't ask. Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah. I can't ask like, hey, it's great to meet you. Where are you from? What you do? Do you believe that you're totally depraved and without the capability of accepting grace without supernatural intervention? What a concept, huh? That John Calvin. Thankfully, Tulip Singles is here to help. You can go, and Tyler, you actually started creating a profile on there, didn't you?
I did. I went as far as I could. I went as far as I dared. I'm married, and I don't want to start any rumors.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not on the market. I'm happily tied down. But I was curious to see, like, at what point is there going to be a credit card situation? But I had to see the form, because you have to sign the doctrinal statement before they'll let you.
I hope you signed it under a fake name. This is Jonathan Piper, Reformed Advocate. Junior. He's married too.
I do. It did have it did have at one point in the copy, an early pitch was, "Are you tired of asking where are all the Reformed singles in my area? Who out there was that like their yes, somebody saw me." What Google search did you stumble across tulipsingles.com? We're like, where are the Reformed singles in Nashville, Tennessee? I've been up and down these streets, sick and tired of ending up on a one-on-one with a cute girl. And I don't know why I'm assuming this is a guy, but I just kind of do. This thing has single guy vibes written all over it.
I'm fairly confident a woman did not set up tulipsingles.com. Not that they couldn't.
Yeah,
it just seems like something a Reformed dude would do. Now, yeah,
it reminds me of, have you guys seen farmersonly.com?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
With the little jingle, farmersonly.com.
The other curious thing about this, too, is like the theological conundrum it opens up. Because if you end up filling out a profile on tulipsingles.com, were you predestined to do that? Was there even any point in marketing?
Yeah.
Like, predestination's the whole thing. Or were you predestined to find tulipsingles.com? Like, it's sort of like a Matrix thing. It's down a deep rabbit hole. Now,
It's a chicken or the egg.
Now, Cory, I don't want to burn any bridges for you, because I'm sure you have a lot of Reformed fans in your listenership, as do we, and we respect and love them. And obviously, this is all in good fun, and I hope they're laughing with us. I hope they're laughing along. But from my experience with Reformed theology heads, this is what I told Tyler the other day. My money is on their first date is to a microbrewery. It just seems like people who are into Reformed theology love microbrews.
Like a fancy.
They're getting
the cloves,
definitely.
the banana.
Definitely.
And that beer.
I live I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan right now, and this is like the heart of Reformed territory.
Yeah.
And it's also the heart of microbreweries. We have like the most
Not a
little craft
coincidence.
breweries all over the place here.
Yeah. I
Not
also
a
feel like,
coincidence.
like if the other question should be like, would you consider going on a date to Starbucks? If no, that's a huge red flag, because they're only drinking dark, like espresso. That's, they know where it was sourced from. Then this isn't a dig. They're people of refined taste. Okay. They have refined theology and a very fine taste when it comes to their beverages. So there's a lot of red flags out there to look for. But
That's
listen,
right.
if you are
That's right.
a single, eligible, Reformed theological person that's looking to find that mate that God has predestined you for before the beginnings of time, head over to tulipsingles.com and they might be able to help you out. So,
But why do you even need the site, though? Honestly, like if it's all predestined, it's just it should be
exactly.
happening. It should be popping off for you, man.
Don't.
Great point.
Once you start asking those questions, we've only got an hour.
You're-
We're trying to keep this podcast short.
So right now, what's happening, folks, is Cory is in real time deconstructing his faith in tulipsingles.com. We'll see if he comes out on the other
Yeah.
side. This is deconstruction.
I'm going to make a fake profile.
All right. So the slice I brought this week is sort of a cousin to my slice last week. Actually, this was purely by accident. But last week, Jesse, you and I talked about the growing contemporary Christian music cinematic universe that is being put together. We've heard that there are a few Christian. I saw a poster. I was at the movies last night, and I saw a poster for this upcoming Jeremy Camp biopic.
Yeah.
The title of which is escaping me right now. I just remember that it stars Hot Archie from the CW show Riverdale.
Yeah.
So, presumably inspired by this wave, our friend Kevin Max tweeted earlier this week, if one should ever do a film on the life of DC Talk, who should play who? Top shelf actors only. That's a power move.
Of course.
I love that.
Flex. That's a flex.
So
We're not here for.
Okay, but you see what he's doing there now, because, and I can only imagine they had like Dennis Quaid was their big A-lister as the guy from Mercy Me's dad, right?
Right.
Basically, what Kevin Max is saying here is, if you do us, don't do what you do to Jeremy Camp. We don't want CW level. Okay.
Yeah. This is CW actors. This is DC Talk.
Yeah.
We need 3 actors, 3 Oscar contenders. It's as simple as that. And And so he tweeted this out. There were actually, and this would, I think, and I say this sincerely, I think that given the right hands, I think there's a really interesting DC Talk movie in there.
Sure,
I'm not confident that it would happen.
Not?
I'm not confident that it would do it, but I'd say I would be interested if it was done the right way. But the cast obviously is key. That's what we were talking about. There were some, I was looking through some of the like options that people threw Kevin's way. And then I put together my own list, which I will read you guys, and hear what you think about them. But first, some of the other suggestions that I saw. We'll start off with, I appreciate, Eric's idea, obviously, having kind of he's seeing this movie down the line a little bit. He has Morgan Freeman as Michael Tate, Sir Anthony Hopkins as Toby, and he has Bono's dad for Kevin Max.
It's like a
I don't know
wild
how
hogs.
old he thinks the DC Talk guys.
All right, here's one.
Yeah. Good pull from the list. Go ahead.
Leon has a more contemporary. Jude Law as Toby Mac. I can kind of see that. They kind of have a similar look about them.
Kind of see it.
Michael B. Jordan as Michael Tate, and then Bradley Cooper as Kevin Max. Again, I would see that. That's a movie I'd see, no question.
I don't see Bradley Cooper. I don't see Bradley Cooper in that role. That's a stretch for me.
man.
Yeah, that's like.
You know what? A lot of people listen.
They're trying for that Kevin Max retweet.
Yeah, a lot of people. The other one that I saw a lot for Kevin Max was Jared Leto. Did you see that too, Tyler?
I did see a lot of Jared Leto in there, and that one I can makes a little more sense because they both kind of have that like chaotic energy where
kind of mysterious.
You feel like I feel like Kevin and Jared Leto. I feel like they both are like you would talk to them for a little bit, and you'd be friends with them, but you'd also be like, this guy is unpredictable. This guy has this guy might call me up at 2 a.m. and be like, let's ride motorcycles out into snake hunting. I've never been snake hunting before. We're going snake hunting tonight.
I heard you met a lady on tulipsingles.com. Let's take the hogs out and go meet her for some microbrews.
This one also, I think, trying for that retweet, you have somebody said Ryan Gosling as Kevin Max. Wouldn't that be nice? Paul Bettany as Toby Mac. I haven't seen Paul Bettany for a while, but I can kind of see that a little
Paul
bit.
Bettany?
He's Vision in the Avengers movies.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What else is he? That's one I think he's done in a little while, I think.
Yeah, I know who that is.
And then I actually don't know who this person is. Michael Jamal Warner for Michael Tate.
He was on the Cosby Show. He was on the Cosby Show. He was Theo.
Oh.
He was Theo, right?
I thought we were talking about top shelf actors only. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that qualifies.
All right, Tyler. I want to hear yours, and then Cory, we're going to put you on the spot.
Can I throw you mine?
Yours. Yeah.
So here's what I put together. I said Aaron Paul for Toby Mac. I said Robert Pattinson for Kevin Max because they both got that dark, weird energy. And then I'm going to say John Boyega for Michael Tate. He's coming off of Star Wars. He needs to get his prestige. He needs his prestige role. This is waiting right there for him. Those are my three. Cory, what do you say?
Oh, that was pretty solid, man. The one I might change there is John Boyega. I've stood next to Michael Tate a couple times. He's a fairly big dude, actually. Yeah. I say he's probably 6'2", maybe.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I almost want to go Michael B. Jordan back on that one, but he's such a stud, that's a tough one.
Man, you are talking about Michael Tate.
Is the implication here that...
Don't read into it too much, bro. Don't read into it.
I feel... Yeah, well...
I don't know if it's reading into it. You feel like maybe Michael B. Jordan is just a little too. I was just a couple weeks ago, we were talking to Brian Stevenson, who's the subject of Just Mercy, which stars Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan plays him, and I would say, and he was very open about that being sort of a casting stretch. He said if he had known Michael B. Jordan was going to be playing him, he would have worked out a lot more, which I think we can. And that's a lesson to all of us. Work out.
You never
for
know
the actor you want to play the hypothetical.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. Stay in the gym so that when they cast Michael B. as you,
here's what I want to do. I want to
to.
throw out a couple others.
Okay.
So the Hillsong Squad.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but Joel Houston, that dude is Russell Crowe straight up.
Yes.
Like they're the same person.
Oh,
Same guy. And then, you guys know who Ben Hastings is, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
He, to me, if, what's the guy's name from, he's Frodo in Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Because he's got that kind of pretty little, kind of dainty face. But if Elijah Wood had that long hair, that's Ben Hastings straight up.
All right, Corey, I want you to
the Hillsong. So the Hillsong movie.
Yeah. So that one's cast. The Mercy Me one's cast. We got DC Talk cast. Jeremy Camp is cast. Now, Corey, I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to set a scene for you. Okay.
All right. Okay.
A man pulls up to a Chick-fil-A. He's been to 1,000 times. He hands him the coveted card. God's reward for faithful service. All of a sudden, he gets a look from behind the counter. Rejected. Rejection. Has his favor lifted? This summer, one man's journey to overcome all obstacles in reckless love. The Cory Asbury story. Now open your eyes, Corey. Now open your eyes.
Yes.
Now tell us who in your mind is portraying you in this film.
Okay, so I had two thoughts. One was really stupid because all the rejection and just super sad and intense. I saw Christopher Walken with those sad eyes.
Yeah,
with the jacked up
You're
eyes.
still battling this out into your 60s.
Totally. But then the second is a little more hopeful. Maybe he gets the Chipotle package right after that, and it's forgive me for this, but it's Zac Efron and Brad Pitt, baby.
Zac Efron
Either
or Brad
one.
Pitt?
I'm good with either one.
Is Efron like the young you in the flashbacks?
Listen,
and Brad Pitt is like reflecting.
Listen, here's what we'll do, Corey. Here's what we'll do. We will get Scorsese to do this and just de-age you like he did for Robert De Niro in The Irishman. We can just de-age him.
Yeah,
we'll just de-age
Perfect.
Brad Pitt for this.
Easy.
I see it. Oh, man. I'll see that movie.
He's already done it. This is Benjamin Button all over again. It's
Dude,
easy.
A
More
river
Chipotle.
runs through
Not the
it,
exact
days,
same
man.
movie.
That's like prime BP, baby.
That's right.
And that's
de-age him.
That's
It's not
me.
a problem. We can do that now.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Like it's like looking in a mirror. I bet.
As always, we'll say this to producers. That is out in the world, but you owe us royalties should it ever be made. So anyway, that was some interesting news that we found out there today, Tyler.
All right, that'll do it for
Slices.
when we come back. Jad Abumrad joins us. You're listening to 11 by Khalid. Well, Jad Abumrad is the founder and co-host of the wildly popular radio show and podcast series Radio Lab, Unerased and More Perfect, as well as his latest, a look at the life and cultural influence of music superstar and first daughter of Nashville, Dolly Parton. I recently got to talk with Jad about the series and how Dolly's life and music can tell us so much more about America today. This was a really interesting one for me, especially being here in Nashville. Jad is a Nashville native, and I've been here for the last, I guess, about 6 years now. And obviously, everybody loves Dolly. She's an American icon, but she's got an extra special amount of attention here in Nashville, here in Tennessee, because she's, of course, from Tennessee. And I don't know how much of the podcast you've gotten a chance to listen to, Jesse, but it is worth listening to whether or not you're a fan of Dolly. I think just people who like good podcasts, good storytelling would have a good time listening to this.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, that's what drew me at first, because I had never really thought about Dolly Parton in any sort of like meaningful way. Obviously, I was aware of her as like a cultural figure. But Jad Abumrad is on a very short list of my journalism heroes, living heroes. I got to interview him and Robert Krulwich, who co-host Radiolab together a few years ago, and it was and they were willing to talk about faith the whole time. I think the reason that I was so compelled to listen to Dolly Parton's America is because Jad has really carved out this space for himself, in science reporting. And for him to turn the microphone, I was going to say the lens, but the microphone to a cultural figure like Dolly Parton, I felt like was very interesting. And I didn't really realize until I started listening to the podcast, which is fantastic. It's a very bingeable podcast. That, when you think about Dolly Parton, not only does she, is she this like kind of iconic figure, she also unites a lot of different types of Americans from different backgrounds, religious, non-religious, conservative, liberal. And that's what, to hear Jad dig into that was very, very interesting.
And I think it was especially interesting for him. His family immigrated over here from the Middle East, and that's on the surface of it. That's something that would often, the stereotype would say, well, country music doesn't have a lot to offer, but that just has not been his experience, especially in talking to Dolly, who, like you said, is such an inclusive presence at a time when there is not a lot of those. And the podcast kind of splits up Dolly's legacy into 8 different parts. I talked to him about this a few weeks ago, actually, before this final episode had come out, which it now has, which really gets into Dolly's faith, to Dolly's what she thinks about God. And because he talked about it so much, he asked us to sit on this until that has come out. So now that episode is out, you can go listen to it. But we talked mostly really about how Dolly felt about God, per his interviews with her. And the first thing I wanted to ask is just a little bit about her own legacy. I know she was raised in Tennessee, out in a very, very rural part of Tennessee, but I didn't know what her history with the church was at all. And it probably won't surprise you to find out that she comes from a very Pentecostal background. He explains a little bit of it here.
Yeah, I find her ability to be super important to like traditional like Southern Baptist communities of faith, right? Mm-hmm. And at the same time be taken by other communities as like this progressive figure. I just find that kind of amazing. I don't know who else does that.
Completely unique.
It's really unique. And so, I asked her a lot about that. And, part of it is that she grew up as like her grandpa was I believe, Pentecostal preacher. Like speaking in tongues, I'm a little out of my depth here, but it's like kind of that classic evangelical, like hardline. Maybe that world was the world she grew up in.
Out there in Appalachia, right?
She told stories about how like she would see people go up and start speaking in tongues, and always wonder like, why am I not getting that?
That's not a tradition that I was raised in, but I'm familiar at least with that with that very sort of backwoods, way out there in the Tennessee mountains, snake handling type of Pentecostalism.
Yeah, and not even just like the fringy elements, that he talks about.
Of course.
Like obviously there are those sort of Appalachian sort of non-traditional practices, but also, sort of things that you'd see in a lot of charismatic churches, like speaking in tongues, that, it's interesting for him to kind of dig into that, to talk about how, what kind of impact that had on someone like Dolly Parton, who has a very, I feel like, authentic, but personal relationship with faith.
Yeah. And that's what he got into next here, because she never really connected with that. Even as a young girl, that was not as much as her family was invested in that. She just didn't really feel a strong affinity for any of that. And but she does have a personal faith, but it's very private. She did open up to him about it a little bit in the story that he tells here, which he called the most moving story that she told him. Here's the story of how she says she found God.
One of the most beautiful stories that of any Dolly story that I heard is the story she tells of when she found God. She talks about finding God not in an organized church, not in the middle of a service with other people around. There apparently was this abandoned church at the bottom of the hill where she grew up. And it was this busted up church with the windows all broken. And there was pornographic graffiti scrawled on the walls and a broken down piano in the corner. And she went in there one day and started singing, and then apparently grabbed some of the piano strings inside the piano and stretched them over a board and made like a kind of homemade zither for herself, and just kind of started like singing against these drones. And it was somehow there in that space that she just kind of felt the presence of God. And I'm personally not a believer, and so I don't know what that's like, but just as an idea, that's sort of captivating to me, like that she would find it there in this place where it's like music, God, and sex are all together in this this blend. And that it would be entirely solitary. It wasn't like an organized thing. And so what's fascinating to me is that she's, those sort of, I think of the church ladies from the South where I grew up, the bigger the hair, the closer to Jesus, that whole thing. She's really powerfully important to those people. At the same time, she doesn't go to church. She doesn't, in a way, believe in organized religion, but she has chapels in every house that she lives in. So it's clearly an important part of her life, but it's private, it's personal.
Man, to be a fly on a wall in that old abandoned church, where this,
what a cool,
and here's what I loved about the stories. That clip's that's a brief clip, but in it, Jad Abumrad, to his credit, is a fantastic storyteller and paints an incredible picture. And if you are looking for sort of stories and these, really wonderful and beautiful anecdotes like that, I mean, the Dolly Parton's America is full of them. But man,
is full.
What a thought of one of the most influential figures in modern American culture stumbling into an old vandalized church and finding God there. What a cool story.
Every Dolly Parton story sounds like Dolly Parton fanfic. It sounds like something you'd like that somebody made up for the. It's really cool that she's had, and that those experiences are what make her such a powerful storyteller and songwriter who's transcended multiple generations now. And I was really curious to talk to, he's telling me all this secondhand, he's telling me about Dolly's life secondhand. I was curious about what this meant for him. He is not a believer. He was very open about that, but he obviously found this story very moving. I was curious what about this struck a chord with him. And he had this very vulnerable response. I really appreciated his honesty here.
And I don't know, like if somebody had articulated that that's what religion can be to me, like when I was growing up in Nashville, it might have had more appeal to me, So she's fascinatingly able to like be entirely unique and singular in her approach to her faith. At the same time, she draws a lot of power because of her background from those sort of more traditional Baptist, Pentecostal, sort of more Southern types of faith. So I find her faith so interesting.
And I think that's such an interesting takeaway and such an interesting lesson, frankly, for those of us who hear it.
Yeah, I couldn't be a bigger fan of the pod series. Like I said, I've always been a fan of what Jad Abumrad has done, particularly with Radio Lab. And man, to get this kind of insight into someone who, again, man, she kind of, I don't live, my grandmother came from Appalachian country in West Virginia. And
that's right.
Was a very big Dolly Parton fan. And my grandmother was a musician and Dolly Parton was a big influence. But I'm not from Tennessee. I'm not from Nashville. I don't think she occupies the same sort of like place in my cultural lexicon as people from
Virginia Beach, not a big Dolly Parton scene.
I mean, but what was interesting listening to the series is like, man, her influence is really infiltrated everywhere in the country. I mean, she can sell out Madison Square Garden with a very diverse group of people who can sort of lay down their cultural war arms and appreciate the kind of singularly unifying power of her music, which weaves everything from stories, from social empowerment to poverty to faith in such interesting and profound ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that sounds interesting to you, or even if you just like hearing a well-told story told over a few installments, can't recommend this series highly enough. I had a great time listening to it with my wife. It was really cool to get to talk to Jad about some of the behind the scenes stuff. It's called Dolly Parton's America, and I'd encourage you to check it out once you are done listening to the Relevant podcast here. So we've got a lot more coming
up. I think this week we're going to run more of that interview with that other conversation with Jad on the site. So it'll be over on relevantmagazine.com. Definitely appreciate him being on the show and all the work he's done.
That was Jad Abumrad. When we come back, it's the editorial question of the week. You're listening to Tommy in the 80s by Beach Slang. All right, we haven't done this in a while. It's time for
editorial question of the week. Hey.
All right, so last week we asked you all for your most embarrassing holiday memories. I was surprised at how many people wrote in. I keep my embarrassing memories really close to the chest, but some of y'all just tweeted them out into the wild. Here, you hit us up on Relevant Magazine, the Relevant Podcast on Twitter. Here are some of our favorites.
All right. Well, Kendall delivered this one. This one is awkward and also sad because she went back to her parents' house. I don't have the context. She lived with her parents for the last few years, and she went back, I guess, for the holidays, and she noticed that her cats. She says her. So, she says my cat, not the family cat. My cat's litter box and food bowls were gone. Found out that my parents had put her down over Labor Day weekend. No one thought I needed to know, I guess. That is an awkward time. Hey, listen, where's Mr. Pickles' bowl? Mom? Dad? They're like, we got you something for Christmas this year. A cat-free lifestyle. Congratulations. Mr. Pickles is in heaven where all cats go. Yeah, we believe he was predestined to go there anyway. So the merciful thing to do was put him down and just let him go to the place where God intended him to be the whole time. So.
Juan has this one's both awkward and kind of scary. He says, one Christmas, 4 friends and I traveled to Russia. We took an overnight train from Moscow to St. Petersburg, where sleeping rooms held 4. I was the odd man out, sleeping in a room with 3 strangers. Right there, that's a little strange. Right there, you're on a train to Russia, so you're on enemy ground. You don't know if they're always up to some shenanigans. They're going to try to hack you.
You got no idea
make you vote for Vladimir Putin. The Red Menace is creeping into the train cart there. And he says, for some reason, it felt unpeaceful. I can think of why that might have been. So instead of storing my bag, I tried sleep hugging it. It's a very bold. I appreciate Juan's honesty here. He needed to cuddle with something in the night, went for his bag. No shame in that. I completely understand. Middle of the night, police come in and arrest the man sleeping on the bunk below me for stealing from people's bags. The guy had been getting up, rifling through people's bags. Fortunately, Juan was cradling his in his arms, kept all his valuables safe. And he said, after that, the room felt more peaceful. Merry Christmas.
Do you notice the commonality of both these two stories is very passive aggressive people? Like Kendall's parents, They could have just told her the cat was put down, but instead they just remove all the cat's things and just let her figure it out. Juan, what do you think the other three people on the train are doing when Juan looks around and is obviously jittery and decides to sleep hug his bag all night? It's like, okay, bro. Like, we get it. You don't trust us. And maybe it was Kendall's parents on the train, because they seem like very passive aggressive people.
Oh yeah, I bet this is a connected thing too. So how did the police know? It was dark in there, presumably. Who alerted? I mean, that's just not how things work in communist Russia. They just drag you to jail for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting a gulag in Siberia for that kind of thing. Ryan said this. I'm guessing Ryan was some sort of guest speaker at he didn't give the context, but I'm reading between the lines here. I'm guessing he was some sort of guest speaker over like Thanksgiving, because he did some football material from the pulpit. I always love it when prop comedy not only makes its way into the sermon, because I feel like we're in like Instagram and like those clips that pastors post to Instagram has brought us to a new age of sermon prop comedy. Like if a pastor walks out on stage with like a golf club or like an empty chest of things, I know something hilariously and spiritual profound is going to happen, and it's going to end up in an Instagram clip. Like that's just the age we live in. But I'm not naming names. I'm just saying I see it all the time. So Ryan said that to kick off the service, he did a roast of his pastors that ended up with him with a friend throwing me a football with a timed Uncle Rico joke. So not only is it propped comedy, it's got timely pop culture references. Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, which came out 15 years ago. All the hallmarks.
Finger on the pulse.
All the hallmarks of a great sermon analogy. Yeah. Unknowingly, he left stage with a hot mic on. And so halfway through the first song, I guess he was still playing catch somewhere, because he yelled, "Hit me in the hands," which yelled out as the worship team is undoubtedly singing Reckless Love. And so it ruined the whole vibe.
Probably Reckless Love.
Yeah. No. So that was the Thanksgiving.
Hot mic. You could probably do a whole editorial question of the week with hot mic moments from church.
We should. Let's put that in our back pocket.
You've got. Yeah. Keep it. We'll sit on that one for a future because it had. And I'm sure Cory's. You've been in more churches than probably most men in America. You don't need to name names, but I would imagine you've seen some hot mic moments.
Because I've had a pastor on multiple occasions use the bathroom with the mic on. Like you hear everything, just coming piping through the PA.
You hear too much.
Yeah, there's one guy, like one elder, that just runs out of the sanctuary. Like, oh no, it's happening again. But hey, the mic's on. Oh no. Then you just hear the beginning of a toilet flush, and then it goes quiet. Cory, have you ever heard a hot mic incident go down at a church or worship event?
I mean, not quite that same style, but there have been many, many weird things that have taken place on the mic for sure. I got two favorites. First this is back when I was in Kansas City at a place called the House of Prayer. And this dude named Marcus Meyer was leading worship. And we had what's called, I don't even remember what it's called, to be honest, but we had like 1,000 teenagers on campus. And, they're rowdy, they're wild, they smell bad. It's the whole thing. So all of a sudden, Marcus Meyer's leading worship, and this one kid creeps around onto the stage, comes around. Marcus doesn't see him, and he grabs the mic from Marcus, and he screams, "Don't take the mark of the beast! Don't take the mark of the beast, bro!"
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And Marcus, was fully freaked out, just scared out of his mind.
When you say kid, how old are we talking?
We're talking 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
And, he's just trying to goof off. He's just being a kid, whatever. But it scared the crap out of Marcus. And it was wicked loud in the room.
Advice.
That was one of my favorites. I don't know how much time we have, but there's one more that's pretty fire as well.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, if you've got time, we've got time.
So this one, this is the most famous story from the House of Prayer where I'm from. And it was, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was actually in the prayer room for this. I was just sitting there. So the prayer room is there's worship happening all the time. And there's a bunch of people in the room, basically just a church service that happens 24/7. All of a sudden, this dude walks in from the back of the room, and he's wearing a long white robe, just a white robe. That's it.
No.
And he's got this long hair and the big beard. I mean, just full on Jesus vibe. Like, this dude is Jesus. And everyone in the room notices him, like, oh, dude, what the heck is going on? So he walks like as regally and as calmly and perfectly, like, as if he was just receiving all of the worship for himself up the aisle. So he's just gently walking up the aisle, smiling at everyone as he's walking by, hands raised, with his long white robe and his long hair and his beard. So we're all just watching, kind of dumbfounded, like, we don't know what he's doing. So he walks to the front of the building, and he sits on the stage. And he faces, just like the worship team, toward the audience, toward the people in the room. And so now everyone in the room is just kind of on high alert, like, oh gosh, what's going down? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Please tell me he levitated.
You know, this. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this.
Yeah.
So all the section leaders, all the security in the room is like, you know, they're freaking out. Like, what do we do? You know, so they go up and ask him, hey, you know, we don't know his name, but hey, man, would you mind like getting off the stage? This is causing a big distraction. People are no longer worshiping. They're just staring at you. Like, this is weird. So he doesn't even respond. He just smiles and looks at them, like, with this kind look in his face. And so we're like, okay, the situation's escalating. He's not moving. People are starting to get scared. So we have to call the cops. Yeah. And the cops show up. You know, they march like 5 wide up the aisles. They're real militant and kind of intense. And they get up there to him. And
was a Roman centurion with them?
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah, I think we've heard this story. This is sounding
familiar.
So
did somebody in the crowd yell, "Give us Barabbas"?
So they walk up and they try to reason with him, you know, just like we did. Hey man, we really need you to come down, or we're gonna have to do some things. We're gonna have to arrest you, et cetera, et cetera. And again, all he does is smile and look at them. He won't respond with words, nothing. So they kind of, it gets a little more intense, but basically they cuff the dude, put his hands behind his back. And as they're walking out, the worship team has stopped at this point. It's just pure silent awkwardness. And he's walking out. And as he's walking out, he screams, "Father, forgive them. They're doing it again, Father. They don't know what they're doing." And he's like screaming at the top of his lungs.
Oh, wow.
They're doing it again, Father. And we're just dying. Like, we're laughing our heads off. But it's so sad at the same time. So Jesus got full on arrested, man.
Do you think this was like a plot? Like, was this his plan? Like, I want to go in and I want to get arrested so that I can have, like, I just want to set up my own punchline here, an extremely elaborate, or was he like mentally maybe like a little bit unwell?
Yeah, no, I think there was some mental illness happening there for sure. But who knows? I mean, maybe it was a big plan, but that was the gnarliest church moment of my life for sure.
The only thing that would have made the other one, you said that when the kid who's like 15 yelled, "Don't take the mark of the beast" into the microphone. Yeah. The only thing that would have made that story more creepy is if the kid was like 4 years old and just wandered on stage and was like, "Don't take the mark of the beast," and you're like, "Oh, why did kids say that? That's weird." Well, Tyler, I think let's save people's awkward hot mic. I do feel like there's a lot of material because we're kind of in this CCM moment. So how about this? For next week, we want to hear people's pitches for CCM movies, and not only a pitch for the movie, but cast them. Who would play the artist in the film? You can tweet us at Relevant Podcast, and we will read some of our favorites next week.
And if you're so inclined to like put together a movie poster for to get your Photoshop skills on, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt as we take some of these pitches to Hollywood to try to get them greenlit. You know, the more work we can do ahead of time, the more likely we are to get one of these projects off the ground. So anything you can do is much appreciated. All right, that'll do it for this week's
Editorial question of the week. Hey.
Well, hey, many thanks to Jad Abumrad. We really had a great time talking about Dolly Parton's America. The whole series is out now. You can go listen to it where you listen to your podcasts. Also, got to say thanks to Cory Asbury. Cory, this was really fun, man. Thanks for making time for us. I'm so glad it finally worked out.
Absolutely, man. It was a blast.
Good luck with I hope the book's release is like a really positive thing, and I hope it sounds like it was kind of a difficult decision to go for it in the first place. So I really hope it pans out, man. I hope that you're rewarded for taking the risk that you did, because I know it's not easy to write one of those. So thanks for your courage, and thanks for joining us. It was super fun. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, this was a blast, man. Anytime you want to do it, just let us know. We'd love to have you back.
Sounds good, man.
Also, want to tell everybody listening to make sure you check out The Relevant Daily. It's our daily podcast, comes out Monday through Friday with the top 3 stories at the intersection of faith and culture that you need to know every week, brought to you by myself. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up. I'm Tyler Huckabee.
I'm Taylor Street.
I'm Jesse Carey.
And I'm Cory Asbury. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, yeah. We'll do it again.
Absolutely.
We'll do it again.
Have a great week, everyone.
I was just thinking about what the dance floor. I was just thinking about what the dance floor. I was just thinking about what the dance floor. I was just thinking about what the dance floor.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
This summer, one man's journey to overcome all obstacles in Reckless Love, the Cory Asbury story.
Relevant Podcast Network.